Since Obama bombed in the first debate, there's been a lot of talk about what will happen if Obama does lose the election. We see the damage that Obama has done already, financially and globally. He's destroyed employment, he's bankrupted us, made communist China our creditor, destabilized the Middle East with the so-called Arab Spring. He's encouraged Muslim dictatorships, anti-Christian dictatorships to take over Libya, Egypt, and now he's trying the same thing in Syria. Here at home, our economy is a shambles. And the threat we see starting to form is that if Obama loses, there's going to be riots. There's going to be bloodshed. There's going to be anger. We see this in this article that came out just a couple of days ago. Obama supporters issued death threats against Romney. They came out on Twitter and they threatened to kill Romney if he wins. One of them said, if Romney wins the elections, I'll start a national riot to kill him. That tweet has been removed, but there are dozens of others all showing the same degree of hostility and hatred. And there was another incident in Philadelphia. Samantha Pelusi, a sophomore in high school, came to school wearing a Romney Ryan t-shirt. She arrived at her geometry class. Her teacher, who was black, by the way, she's white, she became so angry at the sight of the shirt, she ordered the 16-year-old out of her classroom. When Samantha refused to leave, the teacher told her to remove the shirt, demanding to know whether her parents were Republicans. She explained that Carroll High is a Democrat school and that wearing a Republican shirt is, in her view, similar to wearing a KKK shirt. And she wasn't satisfied with this, so she marched her out into the hallway, where she urged other teachers and students to mock her for her impertinence. Now, does that sound like rationality to you? Samantha told reporters she decided to wear the shirt after researching the major party candidates for president and concluded that she liked Romney's message better. And the parents demanded a meeting with the school administration. The teacher was not named, but the incident is under investigation, allegedly, and they transferred the teacher to another classroom where she can inflict her narrow-mindedness and bigotry on a fresh set of youngsters. But this is the kind of mentality among Obama supporters, and you see it now that their hero is teetering on the brink of losing the election. Obama's presidency from the start has encouraged the criminal element. He's a mascot for the lawless. He sends a signal to these kinds of people in our society and around the world, whether it's the radical Muslims or the criminal element here in this country, that they can get away with anything. If you put a Romney bumper sticker on your car, or if you put an anti-Obama bumper sticker on your car or out in front of your house, they'll vandalize it. If they don't like the way something happens, what do? They violently express their anger. They riot. They don't have any self-control. And that's the kind of people who support Obama. That's why he needs to go. There are many reasons why Obama should be thrown out of the office of president, whether it's economic, whether it's the disaster we're seeing in the Middle East. But another reason that isn't discussed too often is social. It's the culture we're living in and the kind of people you have flooding into this country. He's encouraged illegal immigration, and that's a problem. But a large problem is the kind of people we have living here right now. And they support him because they know what his motives are. We have seen the result of it. And many of them will riot if he loses the election. We've had story after story about how desperate Obama is since his debate. He came out with that phony unemployment report where he lowered the number. Even mainstream media is reporting that it was a fraud. But he does it anyway. He figures he can get away with it. And that's why he is a mascot for the lawless. That's just a perfect example of how he'll do anything and say anything to try to get his way. Just like they will. They don't have any decency. And he encourages that. Now, I know Obama's going to try to pull something to win the election. He might strike Iran to try to boost his popularity. He might come up with some false flag, like an Oklahoma City type thing. He'll try to pull something. He's done this repeatedly throughout his career. In the Middle East, he doesn't care if the people taking over are anti-Christian Muslim thugs. He doesn't care. He'll just sacrifice them to further his agenda, which is basically anti-Christian, any way you look at it. He, in a sense, is an antichrist. And he represents that to these people, and they see it. And we need to get him out of there. If there are riots, they could be crushed easily, and they know it. We don't have to live in fear of any of these possibilities, but we need to be aware that they're using this to try to intimidate people into voting for Obama. And there are some people who operate on fear. There are some people who are so cowardly that they would actually back down. But we need to expose this, and we need to say, we don't care. You want a riot? Well, then you'll pay the price for it. And then maybe they'll learn their lesson. Maybe they'll learn they can't get their way, like they have for the last 4 years. Then things will start to change in this country for the better.